Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be doing a series of standing poses. So you'll need your mat. It might be helpful to have a couple of blocks and a blanket as well. To get started, I'm going to take my feet about hip distance apart. I'm going to bring my hands to heart center, gently pressing my thumbs against my sternum. Shoulders are relaxed. I'm standing up nice and tall, and we'll close our eyes, taking a few cleansing breaths here, inhaling deeply through the nose, forcefully exhaling through the mouth. A couple more times. Letting go of any tension or stress with each exhale. Gently opening the eyes, releasing our hands down by our sides. We're going to take and walk our feet a little bit wider than hip distance. We're going to be moving through a squat, so you might find as we get going, you might need to adjust the width of your feet. So taking the feet a little closer, a little further apart. And also as we move through this, your heels might not come down to the ground, which is just fine. We'll use that blanket later on once we come to hold our squats. So I've walked my feet a little bit wider than hip distance, toes are turned out. Here's where we might need those blocks. So let's go ahead, place those blocks in front of us in case you need them. All right, so we have our blocks set up. We've walked our feet a little wider than hip distance. Our hands are down by our sides. As we inhale, sweeping those arms up overhead, bringing the palms together, lifting the heart and chin. And then as I exhale, bending the knees, letting my hands sink down to heart center and letting myself come into my squat. So this is my exhale. I'm trying to get those knees to the nice and wide, so I'm bringing those elbows to the inside, gently pressing those knees out. On our inhale, I'm going to place my hands either on the blocks or on the ground. I'm going to straighten the legs. So our inhale is coming halfway up to a flat back. Hands can also be on the shins or the thighs, either is fine. Our exhale brings us into a standing forward fold, letting our upper body hang, knees can be soft. Next, inhale, I'm softening those knees, letting my fingertips dangle, and I'm going to bring myself up nice and slow. Think about rolling the vertebrae, chin is tucked in towards the chest, bringing myself up. Crown of the head is the last thing that comes up, and then I'll exhale that breath away. Next, inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, sinking into my squat. Inhale, halfway up to a flat back. Exhale, standing forward fold. Soften those knees. And then inhale, slowly rolling up. Crown of the head is the last thing that comes up. We'll move through that a few more times. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up to a flat back. Exhale, back into that standing forward fold. Soften those knees and roll on up. Twice more through. On this one, we're going to come down into that squat, and here's where we're going to hold. Now, if those heels don't quite come down towards the mat, this is where that blanket can come in handy. You can place that blanket underneath those heels for some extra support, so you can rest those heels on that blanket. Another option in our squat is using that block. I'm going to take this blanket away just for a moment so we can use that block to sit on. Remembering there's 3 different heights, so you can find what height works best for you. So I'm sinking my hips down, and then I'm also taking my elbows to the insides of my knees, hands to heart center, so we get that nice opening in our squat. I'm going to stay here for just a couple of breaths. Gently opening those eyes. Now to come on out, I'm going to bring myself forward, lifting my hips up off the block or up off the ground, place those blocks off to the side, and slowly bringing myself on up. Next, I'm going to take my blocks and place both of my blocks at the front of my mat. Feet are about hip distance apart. Inhale, sweeping those arms up overhead, bringing the palms of the hands together. We'll exhale our hands down to heart center. Inhale, lengthening up through the spine, reaching those arms up overhead, softening my knees. As I exhale, I'm going to let my arms sweep back down towards the ground, placing my hands on my shins or my thighs, inhaling halfway up to a flat back, shoulders are relaxed, vision is down at the ground. Exhaling into a standing forward fold. From here, I'm bending my knees so that I can either get my hands down to the ground or down to my blocks, taking that right leg back into a lunge position. I'm walking my left foot over to the left. That allows me to bring my hands or my blocks to the inside of that left leg. Right leg is extended back behind us. I'm lifting the back of the right knee up towards the ceiling. I'm lengthening through my spine, vision down at the ground in front of me, and I'm shifting my hips forward and down. Holding here for just a couple of breaths. The shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, keeping that length through the spine, softening the hips forward and down. To transition out of this, I'm going to walk my blocks or my hands underneath my shoulders. I'm lifting my left toes so that I can pivot on my left heel and the ball of my right foot. So pivoting, walking my hands to the center of my mat. Now my feet can stay either parallel to the edges of my mat, or I can turn my toes out slightly. It doesn't matter, whichever feels comfortable for you. Resting my hands on the ground or on the blocks. Inhale, sweeping that right arm up towards the ceiling. As I inhale, as I exhale, that right hand comes back down to the ground. Next inhale, sweeping that left arm up towards the ceiling. Vision follows that left hand. As I exhale, that left hand comes back down. We're going to move slowly with our breath. Each inhale, sweeping an arm up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, that arm floats back down. One more time to each side. Getting that nice twist in that thoracic spine. As we exhale, come back down. We're going to transition our way into that lunge on the opposite side. So I'm going to take my blocks with me. And then this time, I'm going to lift that left heel, lift the right toes so that I can walk my blocks over to the opposite side of the mat, to the inside of that right leg, shifting the hips forward and down. So we've got a nice long lunge by keeping my vision down at the ground in front of me, letting the hips sink forward and down. To come out of this pose, I'm going to take my blocks and start to walk them towards center, pivoting on the ball of the left foot and the heel of the right, coming back to that wide angle stance. Toes again can be pointed forward or slightly out. Next, I'm going to walk my arms out in front of me, keeping my hands about shoulder distance apart. Upper body will come into a down dog type position with the hands resting on the blocks or on the ground, whichever is most comfortable. But we're keeping our hips over our ankles. So I'm not leaning back and I'm not leaning forward. So hips in line with the ankles, hands shoulder distance apart, and then just letting that chest drop down towards the ground. Keeping our length through the spine. Thinking about sending our sit bones towards the wall behind us. Get that nice extension. Breathing here. Bringing yourself up partway, walking those blocks a little bit closer towards us so that we can bend the right knee, the left knee, and just shift our weight from side to side with that nice inner thigh stretch. Slowing that movement down. I'm going to take just one block this time. So we'll place this block off to the side. And with my one block, I'm going to walk over towards my right foot. Now I can either keep the block to the inside of the right foot or to the outside. Either is fine. And if we don't have a block, then we're going to take hold of that right leg. So I'm taking my left hand, grabbing hold of my right leg wherever it's comfortable. And I'm thinking about then folding down over that right leg. And if we have that block here or here, and just softening down. Bringing ourselves up part way, taking hold of that block and making our way to the opposite side. Block to the inside of that left foot, to the outside of that left foot, grabbing hold of that left leg, and then letting ourselves fold over to the left side. When we're ready to come out of our pose, we can take that block with us to bring ourselves back to center. I'm going to soften my knees, bring my hands to my hips, hug baby towards spine, engage those core muscles to bring ourselves back up to our standing position. So from here, I'm going to take and pivot on the heels to bring both toes towards the front of my mat. And I'm going to widen my stance and take my stance about a leg's distance. You might need to adjust and scoot the feet a little bit closer together, further apart, depending upon where you ended up. Once I have my legs in position, I'm squaring up my hips and shoulders towards the front of the mat. I'm going to turn just briefly to show you where our arms are. Our arms, we're going to interlace our fingers, relax the shoulders away from the ear, gently drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. That keeps the chest nice and open. Once we have that nice stable position, shoulder blades again relaxed, chest is nice and open. I'm sitting up nice and tall, hinging at the hip, bringing myself forward, stopping either with the upper body parallel to the ground or coming into a little bit of a deeper fold. That front knee can be straight or a slight bend in that knee. And then lifting the hands, if you would like, up and away from that low back. Coming out of our pyramid, releasing those hands down onto the low back, maybe on the hips, soft bend in that front knee to bring ourselves on up. We'll switch sides, bringing that back foot to the front of the mat. I'm going to turn just so you can see where we're going. We're going to walk our feet about the distance of the mat. Taking that left foot back, I'm going to square my hips and shoulders towards the front of the mat so my feet are nice and wide. I'm taking my hands to my low back, relax the shoulders, gently drawing the shoulder blades together, hinging at the hip, coming into a fold, stopping when either the upper body is parallel to the ground or coming a little bit deeper into that fold. That front knee can be straight or slight bend in that knee. Squaring up the hips to the front of the mat, gently lifting the hands away from the low back if you would like. Releasing those hands to that low back or to the hips, softening that front knee to bring ourselves on up. Bringing that left foot forward towards the front of the mat. And I'm going to turn towards the camera just so you can see where we're going next. Let's inhale, sweep those arms on up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll inhale, lengthening those arms up overhead. Soften the knees. Exhale, swan diving down. Hands on the shins or the thighs as we inhale halfway up to a flat back. Exhale into our standing forward fold. Soften the knees, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Crown of the head is the last thing that comes up. Exhale that breath away. One more time. Inhale, sweeping those arms up overhead, palms together. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Go ahead and close your eyes. We'll take just a couple of breaths here with those eyes closed, those shoulders relaxed, feet or those toes open nice and wide. So we have a nice stable base. Gently hugging baby towards spine. A couple more breaths here. Gently opening those eyes. All right, let's end our class together, comfortably seated position, remembering whatever's most comfortable for you. So legs crossed, out straight, out wide, it does not matter. Once we have that comfortable seated position, taking one hand, placing it on the belly, giving our baby a hug, the other hand on the heart. We're going to take 3 deep breaths with our eyes closed, saying to ourselves, I'm strong, I'm confident, I am capable. Gently opening those eyes. Hopefully you feel a little bit better than when you started. And if you're ready, I'll see you in the next video.